Hello and welcome back to the Big Esports Conference. We're here for week 7. My name is Vincent. That is Captain Itsoka. Other way, right over there. How's it going?
Oh, it's going swell and all is well because we're going to have two good schools going head-to-head in some Valorant. Of course, we're going to have Indiana taking on Purdue. And honestly, both of these schools are looking pretty good right now as far as records are showing. I mean, Purdue currently sitting at 4-2, while Indiana, they are currently undefeated, sitting at 6-0.
Yeah, they've been Indiana, to be specific, has been a bit of a powerhouse when it comes to the conference. And listen, we know from CVAL, for example, that they can do it no matter who they are playing up against. And there's some history there in this matchup, which we'll get to a little later on as well. But I think that the importance here coming into it storyline wise, it's about Indiana continuing their undefeated run. Will they or won't they? Purdue would be looking to take down a very heavy hitter if they were to find a win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just for the time being, let's get ready to take a look at the lineups that we have coming from these two teams. From the side of Purdue, we are going to have Honcho, Akami, NMSRLM, Spaghetti, and Cryptic. And, of course, coming from the side of Indiana, we're going to have Druff, B Smooth, Simba, Enjoy, and Opted.
Well, I certainly am going to enjoy the Valorant that we have ready to roll tonight. The other thing to note, I said there was some history here. These guys actually played not all that long ago in CVAL. That was the best of three that happened just a couple of weeks back. So the opportunity, Purdue lost that one. It was 2-0 in the favor of Indiana. Now the question, can Indiana repeat that, or will Purdue be able to get some revenge, which is always feels good. With that being said, though, I do want to bring up that Indiana has been a team that has consistently been like right on the cusp and or in the conversation of like the top 30 for the last year and a half. So it's not surprising to see Indiana undefeated thus far.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Indiana, of course, is going to be one of those standout teams for sure, and clearly they have been here at the BEC, Big Esports Conference. But again, Purdue, they're doing significantly well themselves. I mean, they're not on the latter half of the leaderboard. They're up there when it comes to the overall rankings for BEC. So again, they're nothing to wave a stick at. If there's anything that I've learned from Valorant is that you can never count a team out despite the record. I mean, I've literally seen some mid-pack players and teams happen to take out the #1 spot. So again, Purdue could be that team here today.
They absolutely could. And I think that leads us directly into the conversation about the maps that we're going to be playing. Real quick, let's run through map 1. That's going to be Bind. That was Indiana's map pick. Ascent, Purdue electing to bring us there, and then Split should we need it. There's one thing that I want to note, though, on that pool, and that is we're only seeing one of the two maps that were played in that previous best of 3, and that is Ascent, which was a 13-7 for Indiana. So it's, not all that surprising to see it again. What is surprising is that Purdue pick it, right? They lost in their previous matchup, and they are coming back for more. They think that they have improved. They've adjusted enough to make that a win for them, which I think is cool to see.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing about Ascent is that, more often than not, it's going to end up somewhere in the map pool. I mean, it's like the default competitive Valorant map. It's almost in every single one. Almost. Notice I said almost because Captain be capping sometimes. But regardless, you got to have a good Ascent. It's like the old adage. Oh, actually, I don't know how old it is. But there is an adage in Valorant saying that every Valorant team worth their salt has a good Haven. Well, guess what? You also have a good Ascent as well. You got to have a good Ascent. So I'm thinking that in between the first match against Indiana and the second, Purdue probably went and did a little homework, watched some replays, went and ran some scrims, got back on the Ascent map, and now maybe they made some improvements, maybe they made some adjustments, and now they're trying to make Ascent a Purdue map.
Yeah, if I were to take that adage and twist it just to add some more context, no one permabans a Haven or Ascent for the same reason, right? It's everybody's got something to show there, whether it's on the better side or the worse side. That's TBD. We'll get there eventually, but where we're starting with is going to be Bind. That, like I mentioned, Indiana's map pick, and so we're going to get jumping into that action right here and now as the agent select gets started. Expectations here, Tsoka, what do you got rolling into Bind?
And it's so funny because lately Bind has been kind of up in the air when it comes to compositions, just because, again, I absolutely am a fan of the double smoke composition when it comes to Bind, only because I'm 100% biased, as Viper is my #1 favorite agent. And Viper's not usually a pick on Bind unless you go for the double smoke composition. So anybody that brings Viper to the map, I'm all for that composition, and I'm very excited to see it. But with that being said as well, we have seen picks go the way of what we are seeing right now from Indiana, where not only are they bringing the Cypher, but look, they're hovering. They're deciding whether or not they want to also bring in the double Sentinel composition going with Deadlock. And I also saw them hover on Chamber. And Chamber has been an interesting pick on Bind as well. I understand it. I get it. But I still favor that double smoke composition.
Yeah, I don't know if this Deadlock is at all real in any world. I think we're going to see the Chamber swap here at the end, if anything. Or not.
I've seen this Deadlock before on Bind several times. There's a team, again, not Purdue, but is another team that I have casted for in the collegiate space that also really clings to that Deadlock on Bind.
Do you remember who it is? I've been
remember.
away the last week, and I hadn't seen it until now. But hey, there have been. I think there was some changes recently. So
all I know is that it was a Midwest school. That I can guarantee.
Alrighty, well let's jump right into this thing and get started. NMS, that is going to be hard to say now that I'm just giving it a try. NMS starting out on that Deadlock does pose an interesting conversation. We'll get into that more as we go forward. And enjoy on the Yoru. Once upon a time that too was an interesting pick. Now it's just part of the furniture here on Bind.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's definitely not the worst pick. When it comes to Bind, I would be more, I guess, susceptible, or, I would expect maybe more of a Phoenix, kind of as like that pseudo-duelist initiator. But at the same time, I do love Yoru, just for Yoru. So again, I'm not mad at it by any means. But here we are getting ready to go into the pistols for round one.
Indeed, we do. Akame here to try and put up a solid defense. Gonna overtake some space there in Lambs, and with nothing seen thus far, won't get any confirmation. That is the confirmation, though, that they needed. A little camera action, giving away the gambit here. The Toxic Orb up, keeping some coverage allowed. Now they're gonna explode all together. Flash to support, but that does actually do some team blindings. Plant can be going down. Actually canceled up. Time to roll back over to B.
Yeah, and so far so good. I mean, you're looking at the trades, and clearly they're definitely going the way of the attacking side here. And it looks like Druff is going to be able to get that plant down, no problem. But meanwhile, you do have a couple of players positioned for the retake.
Ooh, a little bit of a 1-for-1 right there. This is looking good, though. Overall, as I say that, cut down to just 2 apiece. Down the post plant setup. Very passive approach to this one at Soka.
And now you can see, look, the utility already starting to come out. They're trying to catch anything as that spike continues to tick away. Cryptic able to find B smooth as you see Druff, the last player standing, finds one through the head click, but can't get the final limb on Cryptic as they will get the defuse and the round 1 win.
Yeah, there's Purdue getting the strong start that they were absolutely looking for. That's something, especially when I looked at the scoreline in that previous game that they played a couple of weeks back. Getting a strong start absolutely is going to be a key here, I think. Make sure to get those pistols, and that will head you right on your way for success. That said, we are going to see a round most likely a little easier for the likes of Purdue. Only a couple of sheriffs bought back up.
Toxins going up.
Now we roll.
Yeah, and I'm liking the purchases that, I'm seeing coming from the side of Purdue. Like, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's what I expected, but I just love the fact that the judge, got their little nerf, but it is still very, very predominant, as a buy-up. Not necessarily, not even a buy-up weapon, somewhat of like a bargain buy, if anything, but it still does so much work.
I too am a big fan, personally, particularly on this map. Very effective. Here's the majority of the attack heading their way out towards. And there will be some space to work. No plant just yet, and this judge gotta have a lot to shoot at. There's the first, a second to be had, a third for Akame. And Spaghetti helping out with Hancho getting one just for good measure. That will be a pretty clean anti-eco.
You know how you could tell that the judge needed a nerf? Is that even after the nerf, it doesn't even seem like it had one. Like,
yeah,
what nerf? Yeah, what nerf? You know, I feel the same way about Jet as well. Like, they had so much discrepancies about the Jet nerf, but at the same time, you know, as someone who is a constant and frequent spectator of collegiate Valorant and esports, honestly, I haven't noticed that big of a difference to where Jet is like not viable. She is still one of the top duelists.
Yeah, I think she's in a much better spot now for sure. Is, you know, it's still strong but not oppressive, kind of the Raze situation. You know, like, can't even imagine Raze on release nowadays after the rounds of nerfs we've seen.
Here we are back now into round 3, what could be the bonus round for Purdue. And I am kind of liking the slow approach that we're actually seeing coming from the side of Indiana. You know, they're not rushing it here, but that audio cue from the orb will give their position away here on to B. As you can see, some blind fires are starting to come through. And I'm wondering, yeah, okay, no, they did buy up. They're going for the rifles here in round 3. Let's see what they can make of it.
Opted with a nice shot in MS on the back of the site, though. That Guardian range, it's fantastic, particularly from a range at this, and it looks like the moment just stalled out, trying to not overswing, and NMS doing a good job of not doing that. Swings wide to get the third, but still alive on the back of the site. It's 3-on-2, and Soka, this is a must-win fight that goes the way of Purdue. NMS with a quad kill in a round that honestly was a bit of a bonus. That wasn't a full investment.
Oh yeah, that was 100% a bonus round there. I mean, they played that one so well and really making the most out of that Guardian. NMS really showing up huge there. And even though we didn't get to see a lot of that deadlock utility, still, the deadlock is top fragging. So that's something to take of note, being that, you know, we were kind of speculative on the deadlock on Bind, you know, going into this matchup.
I mean, just to kind of go deeper into that, as we do have a Sheriff round coming up, right? I do think the deadlock, you know, of all the maps, this is certainly one of the best that you could play it. Just haven't necessarily seen a ton of it just yet. But as changes have been made to make that agent, you know, not the dumpster fire that they were on release, you know, we're going to get more and more of that.
Oh, I even got into several arguments about like how bad Deadlock needed a nerf, because the net nade was the most useless thing I think I've ever seen in Valorant. It was like literally just throw it in the dumpster. It's better than throwing it in Valorant. Again, it's just it needed a buff so bad. If anything needed a buff on the Deadlock, it was that net nade.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, outside the pistol round, it was just not even a thing that you should even use.
Put it away. It makes you crouch, so at the end of the day, you're just helping your opponent aim better.
Well, I mean, okay, that's only if you have bad aim like me.
And me.
Be Smooth, at least gonna get one frag here. Currently, a possibility for more. There's 2 players alive here for Indiana.
30 seconds left.
And both of them were out on A minute ago. Now just the one. Be Smooth is about to get found, I have a feeling. Simba. Oh, wasn't aware of the fact that NMS had pushed all the way forward. 2 bullets in the chamber, and that's enough to get another headshot. 10 seconds remain. Be Smooth just hoping and praying to get something done, and does get some frags, nothing more.
Yeah, not the worst eco round I've ever seen. I mean, they managed to take 3 limbs with them, so again, not too bad. I mean, it was somewhat of an expensive win coming from the side of Purdue, but they have a nice stack of cash on their side, so they're not going to be hurting financially by any means. But now we have another rifle round coming from the side of Indiana, and they are going to use this round to try and find their first win on the board here on Bind.
Second gun round. Up, out,
Don't
though.
give them ground.
Purdue have that to work with. It's in the hands of a real honcho, which
who's next?
Not the norm, right? I mean, having the op in your Cypher's hand, but very much be just fine. Dimensional drift, finding a lot of information, and Opted, which was trying to get the showstopper out, not so effective. Will eventually find one, but NMS is still shooting and gets all 3 as they approach. Remain. Things not looking good here for the attackers of Indiana.
And look who gets the finish. It's the real honcho with the op on the Cypher in the ballroom. Now I'm kidding, but on B. But still, that was a fantastic round. And actually this time, NMS still top fragging, and we got to see that deadlock utility. We got to see the net nade as, definitely needed a buff, and we're glad to see it actually is effective now. But also you got to remember that they had that wall, that big deadlock wall on the hookah lounge. That was really well placed, and also it really just funneled them onto the B site, and then NMS just read their positioning like a pop-out book. Great plays being made.
A little bit of a fake out there. No need to take that shot, but full control of the Shower's position, and Cryptic still hanging out. This is a lot of info that's just being gained by the defense of Purdue.
And right now I'm looking at the ultimates here. You got the Showstopper, and you have that Deadlock ult on the side of Purdue. And I'm wondering what they're going to do with it. But now you can see that the Viper's Pit is online. Cryptic able to find not one, but two limbs here on B main. And my goodness, easy come, easy go. That is 3 players now from Indiana in the dirt.
And this isn't a round that you expect them to win. But at this point, with the scoreline getting a bit out of hand, you start asking the questions. Okay, what's going on here? What do we need to see change up? Even that dimensional drift play in the last round wasn't effective enough. It seemed like it got a ton of information. The Showstopper got a kill. What's going wrong? Let's stopping NMS. That seems to be the biggest problem.
I mean, if not that, then maybe try going to A. I don't know, because B is just not working right now, unfortunately. And every time they do go to B, NMS is usually there to click heads. But also we saw Spaghetti also get a nice head click in there as well. And now we do have our first time out of the series. Currently 6-0 on Bind in the favor of Purdue. But this is actually my favorite, because now that we have a timeout, it is now officially time for the Vincent and Atsoka show.
Oh man, I feel like I've been put on a pedestal right there, and I don't know if I'm like, whoa, hold on a second, spotlight is here. But I think there's 2 things to talk about here. The first is, listen, it's only we're going into what, the 3rd gun round here, something like that. Math is difficult for Indiana. This is where you do have to make the play. Like, things have been going wrong, timeout, great, but this is where, if you lose this gun round, you're giving Purdue the insta win on the first half. You're already putting yourself down. And don't forget, this is Indiana's map pick as well. These are high stakes, even though we're still early on.
Yeah, and with the last few seconds of the timeout, Vincent and Atsoka show. Real quick, Vincent, what's your favorite map?
Breeze. I know that's controversial.
No, I like it. I'm right there with you, because again, Viper is viable on Breeze, and if Viper is viable, that means I dig it. My favorite map just happens to be Icebox, and I cannot wait. Praise be the developers when they bring back Icebox. I'm all ready for it.
I don't want to rain on your parade. I'm not an Icebox enjoyer, but I am an enjoyer of Exalted. Moving all the way forward, getting 2 opening frags to Showers.
Oh no, is this going to be a long matchup? It might be. Opted managed to come in and find 2 eliminations back to back, and now NMS trying to get the flank here as that spike does get planted, and now the spike is ticking away against Purdue.
Annihilation available, to be fair. Seekers as well. 5% not particularly needed at the moment. Opted going to be the first to make contact, but contact made, and more in the favor of the offense to remain. NMS, the last alive, and Druff will send him to the grave. It's finally a first round on the board here for Indiana.
Oh yeah, it took them a while to strike, but you know, when they finally got their win, they did so with some authority. I mean, they took a 4-1 player diff at the very end of that round. So again, that was a pretty one-sided victory in round 7. But now we're getting ready to head to round number 8, and we already know in Valorant, if you want to make a change in a game, if you want to really hurt the opponent in terms of economy, you've got to win 2 in a row. It's not enough to just come back and win 1 game. You've got to at least get 2 or 3 in succession to your name if you want to make a real comeback.
And I mean, talking of that, right? How do they win the round? It's taking the Showers control. They're going to go back to that same exact plan for the moment. Opted this time meeting a lot more opposition. Those 3 players there defensively early in order to take that contact, and Showers stays in the hands of Purdue. With that, a little bit of a pause being taken in the middle of this round. Indiana just waiting, holding, passive, looking for aggression.
And, you know, that's the real question. Do you fake the rotate, or do you stick it onto A? And it looks like they're going to try and stick, as one player will fall to spaghetti, and now Druff able to find a 2-piece Showers, and out comes the doggo. Going to be looking for any additional information. The coast looks clear, but you can see the real honcho watching towards TP, and they will be eliminated.
That's brutal. Just a little bit of a missed shot there, and the rest of us now needs to make a heroic play to move forward. Isolated duel towards the lamp at the first of these battles, but you can see head on a swivel. Needs to know where these players are located. That guiding light will give away at least this guy over in Showers. Showstomper right out, and that isn't going to quite connect. A nice attempt, but time, Itsoka, is ticking down.
And again, you know, the showstopper did what it's supposed to do. You know, a lot of people say that, you know, the showstopper is more of like a dispersal unit. You use it to clear sight, and you know what? Sight has been cleared. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a showstopper well used.
Hey, winning rounds is what's important, and a win is what Indiana have. At this point, there's not a lot of space for errors. If you want to tie this game up and get to that 6-6 scoreline that I would presume Indiana are looking towards, then you cannot allow any space to be given. That's what that showstopper all about. Op, this time, in NMS's hands. We saw the real honcho picking that up. And once again, the opening engagement's the key. This time it was Druff getting the double entry over at Showers, where Opta did it previously. That can continue. That is an easy way for Indiana to assuage this problem of the losses that they've seen at the beginning of this half.
Well, they might suffer another loss if they pick this angle right now. NMS waiting ever so patiently with the op. Simba, don't you dare. You do not go to that dark, shadowy place of the boneyard. No, they're not going to go for the peak. Instead, they're going to hold on to their life there, as that wall should buy Purdue a little time there on the B side. But look at the ults at the ready for Purdue.
Barrier mesh does allow some space to work with for the operator, but in the meantime, I like the swap up here. You know, long not open. Okay, we'll take hookah, no problem. Force out some more utility. That's a sky smoke that's allowed to take space. And now Optic could just hang out and strike whenever they wish. These 5 ultimates up, though, they are burning a hole in Purdue's pocket.
Oh yeah, that makes me very nervous. That would make me scared if I was on the other side. Granted that they might not know that all 5 ults are at the ready, but my goodness, when you get the spectator view and you know that they are at the ready, you start to feel nervous for them. As you can see, they still have yet to really find a footing on any site, and it looks like they're going to go right up the gut towards A. The real honcho is there with the first limb.
Showstopper comes out. Akame's got another. That's 3 total now for this round, and Simba having troubles even making their way through that short A angle. Left. Operator no longer a piece of the problem as that heads towards spawn. Simba goes down. The spike is a non-factor anymore. And oh, they're just on the hunt.
And looking for the exit frag, but they will find none. And still 3 ultimates to go for Purdue, 2 at the ready on the side of Indiana, one of those being the Viper's Pit. Love it. But you know what? I gotta say, I'm a little surprised. Are we sure this wasn't Indiana's map? I mean, are we sure this wasn't Purdue's map pick instead of Indiana's?
I mean, I have the information you do.
I feel like this is more of like a Purdue map so far. Granted, we're still in the first half, but my goodness, what a half Purdue is having so far.
Yeah, I mean, let me double check. Let me get the fact check out. No, Indiana. Feels like it though. I will give you that. Haven't seen this annihilation come through just yet. Haven't necessarily needed it. The operator, though, missing the mark in the first attempt. A bit of a back and forth, but both missed shots. And sticking around, NMS wants to get this opportunity.
Scout destroyed.
And now they got a good bit of information, and Opted was able to use that info to get the read on NMS. And like we had talked about earlier, that was the main barrier between them and the B site, was getting rid of NMS, and now they've managed to do so. So maybe now they can start to take control of the B site.
Yeah. Not just a individual barrier, but barrier meshes, for example. There's the Op getting once again into position. Now Akame has to pick their moment. And no, picking the moment isn't allowed. Just all the way up and in your face. The classic free gun, by the way. As Op not necessary for Op. Could maybe be a potential save unless they can get a fight victory shortly. Real Honcho and Spaghetti on the other side.
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple of exit frags on your way out, even if you do choose to save, isn't going to hurt either. As now they go for the swing, the real honcho, not able to land the blind fire as they will be eliminated. And now Spaghetti, the last player standing for Purdue, as time continues to tick away. And they thought about it. They thought about saving. They look behind them and is like, no, we're gonna try an exit frag. And they managed to get one more, but that is still going to be a round win going in the way of Indiana.
I mean, they do have fat stacks of cash in their bank accounts for the moment. Other problem is they didn't realize, but that round was lost. I'm pretty sure Simba was in the back lineup layering that bad boy, and would have had a molly into position, and on top of that, could have called in the orbital strike. So it was lost, no matter if they thought it was.
Yep, not much doing there. They're going to have to play for next, and next is coming up now. Going into round number 11. Almost halfway done here on Bind, and now we have Enjoy going over towards Showers. Although the spike is making its way through mid, looks like we're going to get an A push this time around.
A has been closed for the most part. Some of that success towards Showers, but this short position has been a tough spot to move through for Indiana. Showers in their hands, though. The early presence not there, at least no longer, as we're about 40 seconds into the round. Slowly but surely making their way up. Indiana has some good info. Now, how do they use it?
Yeah, that is the question. And not only that, but Opted does have a good spot here. I just remember in previous rounds, they had so much trouble just taking Showers, and now they have it in their possession, in their control, and Opted able to get the read on the real honcho, and they find the first elim, and now the fuse has ignited the sparks, and all the trades are being made, and now in the favor of Indiana.
30 seconds
Everybody was blind on that initial hit, and MS is gone in a flash. Flank not able to even get activated. It'll be a 7-4 score line as we head to the last round of the half, and well, a good recovery thus far. 4 out of the last 5 rounds going the way of Indiana. I will say, even if Indiana find their 5th, this is still a good half though for Purdue.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and also if you're on the side of Indiana, I mean, you're going into this one. You got to keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, there was a point where the scoreboard was 6-0. So the fact that that the side of Indiana managed to come through, secure 4 wins before the half was over, that's great. But it would be even better if they could finish at that 7-5 split, because the 7-5 split, that's not a bad half for either side.
No, not at all. Enjoying getting up close and personal with the shorty, and doing much more than that with Druff grabbing a frag of his own. The B side is open for business. The Seekers, no problem, coming through the smoke. Spaghetti isolating a duel, but doesn't find success. It's 1v2 for Akame.
Honestly, right now, if I'm the Brimstone... I was hoping they'd be able to use the orbital strike. I was about to say, just run away, wait for the audio cue, and then there's the orbital strike. Okay, at least we got to see a glimpse of it. But regardless, a fantastic finish to what otherwise was a pretty sketchy first half for Indiana, and then a strong showing coming from Purdue.
Yeah, I think Purdue I talked about it at the very outset, right? When we talked about the pistol round, I said strong start, probably a necessity here for Purdue. based on what we saw in their previous meetings and what our expectations coming into today with the undefeated record that Indiana have, I think that neither of us probably expected this scoreline. That said, with a 7-5 recovery, this is wide open. There is quite literally any direction that we can go at Soka. This is up to this pistol round particularly. Getting a good start. Fantastic for Purdue, but an equalizer essentially would be found with this pistol for Indiana.
And that it could. And you know what makes me a little bit nervous, at least for the side of Purdue, is that, it looks as though that their composition more in line with the defensive side when you go double sentinel, and now they have to play offense. And you can see they are not having a lot of luck in the pistols as they are down to their last player, the real honcho, the other sentinel in their composition with only a frenzy in hand. And even though I got to say the frenzy is one of my favorite budget buys, let's see what they can make of it. As they can't get an limb on their way out, Be Smooth will find the final limb, and the pistol round of the second half goes to Indiana.
And so, with that, I mean, unless we see a force buy or something crazy here, the likelihood of a victory remaining low. We'll see Indiana right back in this thing. I feel like that is the difference between a decent team and a very good team, is keeping your head in the game, right? The mental, a big part of the game of Valorant, and it's clear that at no point, despite going down that 6-0 you were talking about, this Indiana squad were never mentally out of it. Never given up.
Especially considering that, they went with the double smoke, which, could be used defensively or offensively. And then you're looking at the composition, coming from Purdue, and they went double sentinel, and it wasn't even, like a pseudo sentinel like Chamber, who can be offensive, who can kind of somewhat double as a duelist. Instead, they went Deadlock and Cypher, who are just two straight up defensive sentinels.
Listen, it's not 2022 anymore.
Scout destroyed.
Chamber can no longer be the duelist that we once saw, okay? Despite what my ranked games may tell you.
My camera is destroyed.
Hey, I'm just saying, if Shopify Rebellion can successfully use Chamber, then you know what? They're still viable to me.
Fair enough. Little guiding light straight through the Toxic Orb. That's an El Clasico right there. Love those little micro plays. And we didn't see a ton of that. We saw some of it towards Showers, but that measured aggression on the defensive side was something we didn't actually get to see too much of from Purdue, and I'm interested to see how they will adjust to that as we get more and more of these attack rounds under their belts.
Oh, and a nice guiding light there just to, get them enough space to jump into the teleporter, and now the push is on, but guess who is there and waiting? It is the combo of Druff and Be Smooth holding down the B site to get a flawless victory in the favor of Indiana.
Little Skyper combo there. 7-7, the equalizer that we were talking about, most likely to be found with the pistol victory, is here. Judge or Kame? I mean, hey, offensive judge, it's a little tougher nowadays, but still darn good.
Look who's holding it, though.
Yeah.
That's the difference maker. When it's a raised judge and with a full shield, I get it.
I also get it. Though closing that distance, that is the toughest part. We'll see how that comes to be, or if it does. Fighting for the lead, for their first lead, actually, Indiana.
Molly.
Yep, nice little hello here at Showers. I mean, nothing more you can ask for than a good trade. Meanwhile, they do decide to burn the corpse of what was once the Cypher, but now you can see another elimination does go the way of Spaghetti in Indiana. Is Opted barely staying alive there as they had to jump up into heaven just to avoid the danger, and now the spike does get planted and time will tick away on Purdue as only one player remains.
That's a big whiff moment there for Druff, and I mean, I'll say unlucky, well-placed spams there coming through from the attackers of Purdue. Like, that was the key difference in that round. I think twice in that round, we saw just losing the spam battle. Ends up losing a life for Indiana. That doesn't feel great, but At the end of the day, it was a bonus round. You're not too worried about it. Here's the real thing coming up next. Not too many players lost in the last round either. We'll keep the money good enough for the full buy, though Real Honcho does have a judge in his hands as well.
Yeah, you know, the only thing going is that, you know, in the first half, we did see a bonus round go the way of Purdue. So, you know, if you're Indiana, you really want to return the favor. So I can get why they were, you know, really wanting to get that bonus round. But you're right, you know, the real game does start now. As you can see, the eliminations are going the way of Indiana, and now they have a 3v2 player advantage in their favor.
I love how Enjoy gets that crossfire set. Then once the other side of the crossfire falls down, just falls back. Doesn't engage, doesn't re-push, doesn't get too far forward, just takes space elsewhere. Love that decision making. Though in this case, it is going to mean there's not a lot of info about the A site and where these remaining attackers are located.
And meanwhile, you do have Deadlock still holding onto the spike, and there's no one at the B site. This could be a free plant here. If they put themselves on site now, this could be a big opportunity, and then force the side of Indiana to play retake, and then even find just a cheeky peek, a cheeky pick, and put the game back into your favor. And it will be a free plant now on towards the B site, and it will begin to tick away against Indiana.
Look at all this post-plant utility. Baramash already out alongside everything else. Grab that still in hand. Cryptic goes down. Now, a 1v3. NMS needs a big move. It's been the it factor for this Purdue team all the way through. Swings for the first, but a great flick from B-Smooth will shut it down before it can even get started.
And like you were saying, that was a lot of post-plant utility, and yet, you know, I got to give it up to Be Smooth, because even while, you know, they were trying to get rid of that barrier mesh, they managed to still get the elimination as well, because when you're shooting that barrier mesh, you're just trying to get it eliminated, so your recoil is going all over the place, but they had enough recoil control to find the shoulder of a player that was picking and then get that elimination, and then you only had one player to worry about in MS, who honestly has been the one player you've had to worry about for the majority of this match here on Bind. But still, they managed to come through and come through strong on the post plane to get a much needed win to equalize against Purdue.
Well, in Purdue's money, no longer the bastion of success that it once was. Opted looking to serve up a little bit of a similar situation as we saw in the first half as well. Judge close range inside of lamps. Here's the double blast pack. Gotta move. Which judge is better? And Akame's will deliver. Meanwhile, Druff and Enjoy elsewhere on the site making the connections as the rotations come through. The fake out not really gonna be a big deal there. Akame's getting more frags in lamps. Just don't fight him there. That's gotta be the answer.
Seek them out.
Yeah, that judge has the boom boom that'll make you say wayo. Meanwhile, the jellyfish, or as my friend and colleague of mine, Ravish, would like to say, the cabbages. They have gone out, and no, the ultimate, the Deadlock ultimate will drag this poor Sky to their doom. Druff has nothing but to wait an inevitable death. You'll love to see it.
First time we've actually seen the Annihilation get activated throughout this map, and in the 1v1, not a better place to use it. Fantastic work and a big round win. That is going to do two things. Lead, grab back, and now Econ busted up. Indiana no longer with money to buy in. They've got pistols alone, and we know what that means. A bit of an easier round upcoming on paper. We shall see, though. This Indiana team skilled enough to make those pistols sing.
Cage triggered.
Yeah, but you still gotta keep in mind that you have two ults on the side of Purdue. Two pretty decent ults at that. They do have the Yoru ult, but I don't think they're going to be using it here in the pistol round, as already you can see two eliminations have gone the way of Purdue. And again, they should have a pretty easy plant, as now the Neuro Theft does go out, and they get all the information they possibly need. Akame again from the lamps with the judge, finds another, and only two players remain for Indiana. And then there were none. Okay.
Yeah, I mean... realistically, if we can see Purdue actually convert this early lead that they got into a map win, this whole series turns around. We're looking at a very different complexion. I mentioned, to keep talking about this CVAL meeting that between these squads, that was a 13-7, 13-4 scoreline in the favor of Indiana. Like, it wasn't particularly close, but here we are, lead in hand and some serious firepower behind it. For the Purdue squad, they are the underdogs, but they're making it work.
It makes you start to question Ascent a little bit now, right? We're thinking, wait, why would Purdue pick Ascent? You know, but that's their map pick. You got to keep in mind, they're doing fairly well right now, and this isn't even their pick. It makes me all the more nervous for when we actually get to a map that they did pick.
Well, the craziness here is that we didn't see Bind in that previous matchup either way. Viper's Pit activated. We haven't really seen this used. I feel like Beastman hasn't been in great spots to utilize it, and that wasn't one of those spots you want to see. A bit of an on-the-fly maneuverability, and opted. Has a possibility to find this on the cross with the barrier mesh, locking him out of the site. No way back in, at least for the moment.
Of Purdue making a strong case in point for Deadlock as a viable agent here on Bind, and you know what? I'm starting to be won over by it slowly but surely.
I'll be honest. I don't think the Deadlock has been particularly insane. I think MS is just particularly insane.
Okay, that checks out. I could buy that too. That makes sense.
Like, it's not been bad. Don't get me wrong. You know, there's a difference between you're throwing and it's fine. Like, it's fine right now. NMS, on the other hand, what a gamer.
NMS is just cracked. Doesn't matter what agent they on. You know, you could maybe this was to prove a point. You could put me on the agent that may be like the least viable ever, and they're still gonna top frag. And sure enough, NMS just having themselves a great game here on Bind as now we get ready to head into round 20.
It's time. This is do or die moment for Indiana. They bought last round. It didn't work. Now they're on a half buy once again, electing to give them 12. Well, give them maybe a strong term, allowing for that 12th round opportunity with the purchase they've made. Neural theft was not utilized. I thought I heard it, but that cipher still has a cap on.
Yep, that he does, and a very swaggy hat at that. Again, my first main ever in Valorant was Cypher, so the homie holds a special place in my heart. But with that being said, you know, the ult economy once again in the favor of Purdue, 2-1. That Yoda ult still there. And as you had mentioned earlier, they're just burning a pocket, burning a hole in the pocket of Indiana, as now they are going to go for the full push on towards the B site, and they should be able to take it no problem.
And here's where the potential for that barrier mesh is so very high, right? Getting onto the site and then in the post plant, right? If you set it up at a good timing, it just locks everyone out. Not only that, but potential post plant utility can be in trouble there. Here we are. Do you see? No way to get back to elbow, not for right now.
And a showstopper to cook up a two-piece. That's how you cap off the end of a plant right there. They took that site with authority, and they held onto it with an iron fist. That is going to now be match point in the favor of Purdue.
And they got time to close it. 4 rounds, that's the requirement. 4 rounds in a row without making mistakes for Indiana. And I'll be honest, I think it's going to be a tall task. A task they can certainly make happen. But how many gun rounds has Indiana actually won this half? Not very many.
Not as many as Purdue. Let's just put it to you that way. Yeah,
I think they've got one.
Oh my goodness, Purdue is having a great game. But once again, we have another timeout, which means it's time for more Vincent and Etsoka Show. And while we are here in the Vincent and Etsoka Show, Vincent, I'm going to go ahead and ask you, you know, we're on Bind. Where do you think the allegiance lies as far as Spike loyalty? Is it on the defense or the offensive side?
Which is preferable?
Yeah, like where do you think the win percentage goes more often, on the win or...
I actually don't know what it is on New Bind. I don't think I've ever checked. But
okay, well, what do you think it is, defense or offense?
I'll take offense usually.
You take offense? I agree. Just because I love the amount of entryways that they have, especially on the A site, and I love the use of the teleporters. So I agree. I do love offense on bind. And again, if you can just finesse it, especially with some of the crazy plays that we get seen made on entry, again, Rays, anytime they break out the judge and go, double boost pack. We've seen it earlier, with the Rays. They went double boost pack into lamps, and they could not be taken out of lamps. It was just such a great entry, and they were able to hold such a great point. So yes, again, I do love the offense on bind. Great plays can be made. As now we head in what could be the last round here on bind. It's going to be round 21.
Yeah, big round, biggest of rounds. Indiana's map pick, and they're on the back foot. Enjoy, though, serving up a early headshot right to the face of their opposition. This will start them out on the right page, that's for sure. Info gained is the real honcho. It's knowledge of Simba.
Once again, holding lamps. We already talked about how much can be done just from holding that position, but I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I think I heard teleport, but I guess I was mistaken. As Akami will get the first elimination thanks to the elimination feed. As now it is a 4v4. And it looks like the spike is thinking about rotating. As you can see, it is Purdue taking their time here.
Unfortunately, that double stack that we just saw
30 seconds left.
entirely null and void this time out. What a swing from Akame. Enjoy, gonna have to make a big play here in the dimensional drift. Gets info in the first. Knowledge isn't gonna be enough as Spaghetti turns on a dime. Here's him coming out of the drift. And Simba has to clutch.
They barely see the cap of Spaghetti, but not in time, as Simba will be eliminated, and game one goes to Purdue.
Hey, that is one way to find yourself a victory, and Purdue making it happen. That early start that we saw, what an incredible way to find some footing in a series. And then from there, yeah, Indiana started to make a comeback, but putting their foot down, Purdue said no thanks. 13-8 the final score. That's absurd.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially considering that, going into this one, we were thinking, yeah, Indiana. I mean, it was their map pick. They have the better record. The last time these two teams met, it was going the way of Indiana. So you're really just thinking that, Purdue are the underdogs going into this one, but clearly they are not. They came through even with an underrated and, dare I say, misjudged composition going with the double sentinel. I'll be honest, I haven't seen the double sentinel composition actually, be meta like 3 seasons ago. That was like 3 seasons ago, the last time I actually seen double sentinel compositions show out in a major way, and with a deadlock of all new agents. So again, just fun, everything just was like kind of thrown to the wind, and Purdue just made it work. It was a fantastic display of what they are capable of. But with that being said, I think we are just about ready to go into our first break. And when we come back, we will be back with game number 2 between Purdue and Indiana right here on the Big Esports Conference. Do not go anywhere.
Well, alrighty then. It's time to get back into the action. Map 1 done and dusted. And I think it's fair to say, Itsoka, that we really didn't have any expectations other than Indiana go Burr, and we got entirely upset in our expectations. Purdue came out and they played a great game of Valorant.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, like it was an upset, but I personally wasn't upset by the performance. Absolutely blown away. That was some great Valorant being played. They put on a show and they definitely made a statement for sure that they are not to be slept on. And you know what? I'm glad I even made the statement, even before heading into this matchup that, Purdue, this could be Purdue's day to win, and it very well might be. But with that being said, it's not over yet. They now have to get another win over Indiana, this time on Ascent, which is Purdue's map pick.
Yeah, there's two things though to talk about. The first of that is that we actually didn't see Bind last time these two teams played. It was Ascent that was the first map, and that was Indiana's victory, 13-7. So there is some history there where Bind we didn't quite have the same level. The other thing to talk about is you and I were discussing in the green room. There was one player that I feel like we didn't quite get the value out of that we were looking for. That was Enjoy on the Yoru. It wasn't like terrible or anything, but I felt like we didn't quite see the level that we needed from the Yoru in particular. Not Enjoy as a player. I just feel like we didn't get to see as much from the agent as we could have. And heading towards Ascent, I wonder if there'll be a different story there.
Well, I'm expecting a completely different composition heading to Ascent. I mean, Ascent is a map that we have known, we have studied, the meta has been established, and it didn't appear to go anywhere. For the most part, and you know what, I'm going to make the prediction before we get into agent selection. Here's how it's going to go. Okay, we're going to have, let me see, first of all, KJKO combo. This is my favorite. I love the KJKO combo. Give me a Sova. Sova Odin combo goes Burr on Ascent, without a doubt. And then for the smoke, it's going to be Omen, but Astra also getting getting the higher pick rates with the smoke as well. And then also, for your duelist, honestly, you could pretty much just go about anywhere. Jet does phenomenal on Ascent, but also so does Reyna. And honestly, a Raze is not that bad either. But now we do get to see the agent selection, and let's see how I did. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I mean, listen, right now we're getting trolled a little bit. There is a large amount of duelists
on one
side. Yeah. I was getting there. I was getting there. But normal composition, I mean, you basically knocked it right out of the park on the other. I mean, this is essentially exactly what to expect. I actually can't tell who that is, what team that is. I think that's Indiana because I can't read the names on the defense. So.
Yeah, okay, so what we are seeing is that it's Indiana on the attack, so they're going with the more unorthodox type of composition. But keep in mind, it was the unorthodox that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from production. That's what production's telling me. It says Indiana is on the attack. That is what I am getting from production. That
this
is
video
okay.
Game
Never
mind.
Lying. Flip. Hang on. Flip that. Now I'm getting flipped at. My bad. He. That's what production is telling me. Okay, so Indiana is going with the Captain Itsoka composition. Yes, that's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah,
your
composition.
Tweet me about it. Yeah. Yeah, the Captain Itsoka composition. No, the meta composition. Honestly, that's just the Ascent composition, and it is going to be more of the unorthodox composition coming from Purdue. But keep in mind, they were a little bit more unorthodox on Bind in their picks, and it worked for them.
I mean, listen, that's fair. I think that this may be controversial, but I think it's fine to play off-meta things. Now, I will certainly point it out, but it's fine to play off-meta things, especially if you have a good plan in place. Like, go for it. I love to see that. New ideas is so exciting. With that said, let's jump right into the action here. Defense for Indiana. Got it this time. Purdue on the attack, and I do think that the Harbor is interesting, but there's no reason that the Harbor shouldn't work, especially with the Viper as well.
I'll be honest, I like Harbor more on Split than I think any other map.
Of course,
I mean even Lotus. I feel like they go good on Lotus as well. But Ascent, I'll be honest, I haven't seen enough Harbor on Ascent to have a proper judgment. So we'll see.
We shall see indeed. Cryptic sending the flash drive up and over in order to buy entry into the site. Post plant getting activated. It's a 5-on-5. Ooh, like that. We'll play around the utility there. Real Honcho gonna get a frag. It's executed. Right after that, the retake coming in fast and quick. Indiana serving up the frags as quickly as they come. 2v2, and NSM delivering it once again early in this map.
Oh my goodness! I mean, a vomit on his sweater already. Mom Spaghetti able to come in clutch, but again, it's NMS on the unorthodox pick. This time a Harbor that manages to be the top frag. Granted, it's only the pistol round, but come on, NMS, you have to miss eventually. You can't just head click everybody.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Listen, as much as I enjoyed what NMS put together, that definitely was slowing down at the end of the last map. Let's not pretend like it was a constant, fragging power there from them. But here's what it was. We saw that early round, those early lead that was gathered enough to help close things out, even with a short comeback put together by Indiana. And that could always happen once again. Sometimes just one half of unstoppability is enough.
And you know what? I think it is going to be a little bit more impactful to have that early lead on Ascent, given that there really is no big advantage to the attack or defender side, whereas Bind, we even said that, it appears that there could be an offensive advantage to Bind. So let's see what they can make here on Ascent, given that it's, mostly just like a 50-50 neutral map. And now you can see Purdue is just going to force their way into the boatyard.
This is a bit of a collegiate special when it comes to this on the second round. Little mid-to-B split. Always an effective strategy, it seems. Cove goes down right as Enjoy trying to take some pot shots. And, Simba's going to get a free couple of attempts. But it won't matter too much.
Oh my goodness! You know what's the main reason why I love NMS on Harbor? It's because the barrier mesh is the exact opposite of the Cove. You can shoot through the barrier mesh, but you can't walk through it. The Cove is that you can't shoot through it, but you can walk through it. It's literally the exact opposite. And NMS just can make the most out of both utilities. You'll love to see it.
Absolutely putting it together. Here's the bonus round now for the Purdue squad. Full buy on the Indiana side of things. Here's where I think things will differ. We saw some, some jokes, a little bit of trollery there from NMS on the SMG, but now things get serious. High Tide goes out. Cove, all of the utility essentially being expended to get them onto the site.
And, sometimes that's what you got to do. As you can see, Akame able to get one. They do get traded out by Opted, but Spaghetti gets the spike plant down, and that might be the most important thing when you're looking at an anti-eco. Currently up 2-0 in the score count, but Drop able to find another elimination, and now B Smooth gets 1-2.
It's a massive reckoning, though. Makes it difficult. Gotta keep moving, and NMS is the one who needs to clutch. Sheriff out in hand. Cascade has just come back online. And the other side, Drop trying to work in the clutch. Got annihilated the last time. Literally and figuratively as NMS goes to the SMG. The shots will connect. And the 3K required and acquired for NMS.
NMS better? Question mark? They're better? Just better? That's it?
That is, that's 2 1v1s. Via Druff, and NMS has come out on top both times.
And then how about, to start things off a 10-0 scoreline?
10-0 is nutty. That is incredible.
10-0. Like, don't get me wrong, it's early rounds, okay? But one of those, you got to give them credit. It was a rifle round for Indiana, and they still came out on top.
I mean, equal or more than all of the other teams' kills, or more than the rest of your team combined. It's a lot of frags.
And with 0 deaths. Again, NMS, truly impressive. But still, it is very early. That's only 3 rounds. Still plenty of Valorant left to go here on Ascent, as it will be Purdue still on the attack, and already they lose their Viper. RIP to my favorite agent in the game.
B-Smooth delivering that opening pick, and it's looking for more. Re-clearing that angle with the Owl drone and finding nothing to be had. With that, maybe I'll say false sense of security from the Owl drone, though. I like this call from the Purdue side. They know that somebody just cleared this, got some information that this is open, and now all of the attackers heading right over towards B.
Yep, and now the jig is up. With that bot being eliminated, they're going to know exactly where the push is coming from. And you can see Enjoy does get walled off here in the mid. Akami, thanks to the elimination feed, is able to find one, and so does NMS. You can see now that Purdue take full advantage of that push, and they will take full control of that B site, as now Spike will tick away against Indiana.
Draw for covering a Marshall, at least something to work with, has some utility to cover up the back of Boathouse if they want to. Cascade, oh, that's not a great timing. And then Mass catches Simba on the run through, and the fragment making it impossible for Drop to activate on the other side. Clean and simple, it is another 4-0 start for Purdue.
Clean and simple, or if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, simple and clean. As easy as the way you make me feel tonight here on Valorant. My goodness, NMS popping off. You know what? I'm a Harbor main now. That's what I do. You know, I'm going from Viper. I'm a Harbor main now. I'm kidding. I can never abandon Viper. Love Viper. But still, Harbor, definitely going to be looking at them more often in the agent selection.
I mean, I don't want to rain on your parade here, but NMS is just 12-0. Like, there's been some good Harbor utility. Don't get me wrong. But you just shoot them in the head, they die.
I mean, what could I say? I get very excited. You know, I'm an optimist. You know, I see some great gameplay, and all of a sudden, you know, that's what I gotta hop on. You know, whenever you know, like if I wear some Jordans, maybe I could be like Mike. Well, maybe
so
if I
what you're saying is you're a bandwagoner.
Exactly. Like if I see Harbor doing well, then maybe if I play as Harbor, maybe I could be like NMS.
Fair enough. We'll see. Joy currently putting things together. That's a key couple of frags. Getting this an even scenario, though the site overwhelmed, taken for the time being, though not confirmed until that knife comes forth. And the KO.
Well, here comes the post plant. The real honcho with the up does find one, but gets gunned down in kind, and now NMS will also be on the chopping block. Only one player remains, Cryptic, to try and hold on as the spike continues to tick down, but they too will be eliminated in a much needed round win going the way of Indiana.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, getting on the board, that is step number one, and at this point, an important first step to take. Opted and Drop surviving with an op in hand as well. Does feel nice. Not going to have to reinvest that. Toss over to Simba, who was a player that we didn't get to talk too much about back over on map number 1. Was on the Smokes role and didn't have the highest impact of games. Now on the Jet, really interested to see Simba just take over once it comes to this operator.
I mean, let's see what they can do with it. I mean, so far, Simba's been kind of quiet here on Ascent, but, you know, when you get an op in the hands of a Jet, you know, magic happens. So let's see if they can make it happen here on B main. It looks like the Paranoia did hit, as Simba will find the first elimination onto the real honcho.
Serving up that opening pick. We talked about the importance of it back on Bind, and it's even more so on the map of Ascent ×2. One towards A, one towards B, both down. The Spike, unaware of where they want to commit. Cryptic with it in hand, and
right here.
From here, boatload of ultimates still in hand as well. Seems, dare I say, unlosable with a 5-on-3 advantage.
Yes, dare you say that, because again, every time I call a match that happens to be unwinnable, I'm always wrong. Captain is always capping, but we'll see if Purdue can make the most out of it. 3v5 as they're going to force their way onto site, and Odin in hand, and already Spaghetti and Cryptic will be gunned down, and only Akame remains, and they don't even have the spike in tow, as it's only a matter of time now before they get eliminated. Akame does reveal themselves as the Paranoia does hit, the swing comes out, and Akame goes down.
Well, there you go. Big start to the round off the back of that operator. talked about it. Simba getting activated as expected. And from there, I think it was Druff who found the opening pick of day. It was all working very well together. I don't think there's another buy in the back pocket of Purdue. I think they're going to have a hero rifle there for NMS, and not even that. Just a couple of sheriffs, an upgrade to an SMG, and even a marshal for the real hunt.
I don't know who was over there talking down NMS, but I'm glad they did. They were like, look, let's not hero buy. You know, let's take this one rather safe. I mean, we already got 1 round win. Let's try and close it out here on Ascent. No need to go extra. We know you're the top frag. Just save with us. Come on, let's save together.
Decision made. A little bit of a fishing ultimate there. Does allow Simba so much space all the way forward. Do be made. Clearing out angles in towards spawn at this point.
Oh, and the showstopper now able to find Druff there into tree. And you know, we always talk about mid to B, but again, I just love going mid to A. I love going tree. It's one of my favorites. Meanwhile, you do have the nullify ultimate from that KO going out that null command. As it should fade, but I mean, only NMS remains with the harbor and just a sheriff in hand. Really not much they could do here. I mean, one flank and they're gone. And there it is, Simba on the flank with the op. Good night and good day. That is a 3rd round win going the way of Indiana.
And this is where Indiana really do shine. I talked about the way that we saw a couple of times those set plays early in rounds to go get aggressive and find information. That was another one of them. Be Smooth using the Hunter's Fury in order to clear out angles towards tiles. And that allows for Simba's op to get forward through B main, get a kill at Cat, then walk back around the corner. Just some good utility usage and combination plays here from Indiana to get them their 3rd.
One suppressed.
Well, here we go. Going into round number 8 now. And it will be Purdue still holding on to that 1 round lead. And you have the real honcho going to be peeking mid with that operator. And no one there to meet them. You know, I love a good sniper battle, but Simba, they're just not at the right angle. They're over here watching right there in mid.
Keeping an eye on tiles, but nobody there going to be pushing for the minute. Here's that very aggressive usage of all of the utility from Harbor. Cascade to get you out, Cove to cover you off, and Reckoning forcing movement from the back of Boathouse, moving out and in. Be Smooth the one to find the frags. 3 from the Boathouse as a 4th comes around the corner. It'll be a Kame down, and the real honcho to follow. Incredible work from Be Smooth to make that Behold work.
You know what's crazy is that, at least from my end, that all happened off screen. So I didn't get to see Be Smooth, you know, turn around and just get the 3K. All I saw was NMS, you know, again, call out all their harbor utility, including the ult, and force their way on to B site, which has worked for them in the past numerous times. And all of a sudden, Purdue just gets eliminated. Every single player just gone in a flash. And whatever Be Smooth did must have been spectacular. I mean, again, you have got to land your shots, and Be Smooth had to have been shooting at 100% last round.
Absolutely was. I mean, we saw the back end of it. It'll be another half-buy type of round. Real honcho enjoying this Marshall. We haven't seen it put to too much good work yet. But looks like just a bit of poking and prodding, mid control being gathered, and Marshall missing the shot, but so does the Vandal.
And once again, they're going to try that mid approach, which I don't mind at all. I love going to pizza because I love pizza. Pizza's great. But with that being said, you know, it is an eco round, and, you know, they're really not able to really do much. As you can see, Enjoy and Be Smooth are just going to hold pizza with an iron fist. They're holding mid very well. Nothing much doing here for Purdue.
Last player standing.
Yeah, this is ultimately going to be a tough victory for NMS. First frag already found, a Cascade to follow that up.
30 seconds left.
No spike, though. That is a big problem. That's being guarded times 3.
Well, good luck to you. As you can see, they are going to contemplate the swing. They go, and they will be dealt with in kind. Now, for the first time here on Ascent, Indiana will take the lead over Purdue.
This is something that we actually hadn't seen since, you know, that halftime comeback, right? 7-7. I don't think Indiana ever actually had the lead, really, in that first map. Correct me if I'm wrong, but comeback trail.
Yeah, that checks out. I mean, if my memory serves me correctly on Bind, they kept equalizing but never did take the lead.
Yeah. Big moment now. Following that up. Enjoy. Oh, just gets the first frag. 1-for-1 trade. Getting a pace change can sometimes be your ticket, and that's what Purdue hoped to do.
One thing Purdue needed to do was get rid of Be Smooth and Boatyard. I mean, we've already seen what they could do before, okay? You cannot have that happen again if you're on the side of Purdue. And now you can see the spike is beginning to tick away, and Druff and company from Indiana have to come through with a retake, or we're going to just see ourselves with another tie game.
Seems likely. Possible. Great paranoia. That catches two. Druff only making the move, but Akame waits it out in the real honcho with one of their own. A little bit of a free bit of information there on Opted. As the Lear comes in, Opted stuck between a rock and a hard place, but he's got two frags. Quick and simple as the flash drive comes through. Cryptic, unblind. We'll take the shots and send us to an even scoreline that you mentioned before.
Yep, here we are, back 5-5, and this is exactly how I expected Ascent to go, to be completely honest. Honestly, what I expect on nearly every Ascent matchup, at least on a matchup that's worth its salt, is a 6-6 half. I have seen and have gotten more 6-6 halves on Ascent than any other map.
Well, I mean, it is touted, you know, that even Steven type of map, pretty much offense, defense, statistically about the same.
Enemy killed.
That's a fantastic start, though.
An absolutely wonderful start, and now they're going for a wonderful finish. Able to find so many limbs. The Hunter's Fury came in and did so much damage, and it was nothing but cleanup coming from the rest of Purdue. Or I'm sorry, from Indiana. As they were able to come through. Again, Be Smooth just really coming in clutch for the side of Indiana, and that time the Hunter's Fury did all the work.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about, you know, traditional abilities or utility being set up, right? Sometimes where you could use a flash, a Hunter's Fury will work just fine. Pulled all of the attention away, made the floor lava, essentially, and had to get a move on. Made it difficult to clear these angles out on the site itself. 4 ults still available. Blades already out and forward through a main. That Blade Storm finding information. The rest of Purdue head towards B.
And they have had a lot of success here. Let's see if they can replicate it. As you do hear, the showstopper has been called out, not able to find an elimination, and that nanoswarm is just going to halt the process as now Cove gets completely demolished as Spaghetti will be eliminated. And Indiana managed to hold off the danger there onto B, and they're going to force a rotate out of Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we've seen that utility set thrown out a boatload of times, and it's been countered out. Drop with a nice shot. Gets forward position, then comes back for more. It'll be the Empress to come through. With that, Simba unknown there in the back of Wine. He's the crux, the linchpin of this round now.
Oh, here comes the lockdown. As you can see, NMS trying to get the read here on the KJ, but they can't. And now only Enjoy remains, looking to try and put an end to that lockdown. It looks like they might have been able to get it, but now they're stuck on a 1v3 retake, and they will be dealt with. And that is going to be a 7-5 split now in the favor of Indiana going into the second half.
And remember, that was 4-0 at the beginning of this half with NMS. Hey, 12-0 at one point, now 14-7. What a unreasonable way to shut an individual player down. was absolutely just dominating the entire server up until that point. Now, out of the last 8 rounds, 7 go the way of Indiana.
Yeah, and I'm getting a little deja vu, you know, if again, you know, on Bind before we made it to Ascent, well, the half also went to a 7-5, inevitably went to the team that managed to take the lead in the first half. So who knows, maybe history will repeat itself, and this time Indiana will be able to take that 7-5 lead at the half and turn it into a victory. But we will find out as we are all back to the pistols as now round 13 is underway.
It's TBD on whether we shall see split. That would be our third. Fragment nicely placed. The real honcho taking a lot of damage on retreat. Simba will lead the charge for the opening frag. It's Indiana. And a 4-on-4 post plant going to get activated here in a moment. The door already down. And the post plant's a set.
Yeah, now when I'm thinking about post plant, you know, Haven always comes to mind, but it, you know, when you're on Ascent on the A site, I mean, how successful are the post plants, are the retakes? I just feel like it's going to be a little more challenging here, but NMS able to find at least one elimination, and look, all 3 players from Indiana are down low underneath Heaven, and Op10 able to get 2 back-to-back headshots. And only 1 player remains. Spaghetti will be gunned down, but my goodness, the shots were hitting from Indiana.
Those headshots were succulent. Absolutely absurd. Just a little tap here, tap there. Free for Indiana. And that's a tough post plant to work. I mean, once you lose your player in A main, you're in trouble. That's why they tripled up in hell. Doesn't matter. Can be a hard spot to hold, but you can force the issue, or you can just take the fights and win. That's what Indiana elected to do. The Hoosiers doing well for themselves now, 3 rounds in the lead, 4th almost certain on this eco.
Well, here's a familiar sight as well, and that was going to be the real honcho on the Marshall, but I guess not. Simba, you know, through the wall, through the smoke and everything else, managed to find honcho and put it into them early.
That feels very bad. Honcho, as the smoke was getting activated, just barely seen. I don't even feel like you can get a chance to shoot back. Spaghetti, a little bit of bait and switch. In MS position, though, known. And now Spaghetti all alone. Dead as a doornail on the site. This will be the plant, and 2 remain, but I'll be honest, Soka, my hopes not high.
Hey, as long as there's still 1 player alive, that's winnable. And you know what I'm calling it? It's still winnable. It can happen. But Cryptic now going up against the firing squad, I don't think it's going to happen. Surely it does not. Cryptic goes down, and now it will be a 9-5 lead in the favor of Illinois. But we do get to go into the rifle round next.
I feel like this rifle round, kind of same situation as we saw with Indiana on Bind, right? If you lose this rifle round, well, Purdue in some big trouble. Like that 10 scoreline, like double digits, that's where things start to fall apart. And this is by no means an easy bonus type of situation. There's only 2 SMGs on the other side.
Well, let's see what they can make of it, as the spike is going to be moving more towards A, but look at this. Everybody's kind of situated here by mid, and already Enjoy, thanks to the kill feed, was able to find 1 on Akame. Still lingering here by B. Spaghetti now will be the next on the chop and block as Enjoy finds another, as the no command comes out. Now NMS does get at least 1 head click, but can't get the second.
Well, that's a trade frag that opted. Fantastic for finding Simba. Be falling back around the corner. Be Smooth is just patient as ever in mid. With Cryptic down, there is going to be a tall task in order here for the real honcho. The first frag found, but Druff is having none of it. Before he can even come through the smoke, he'll go down. There's those double digits that we were just talking about. Bad news bears for Purdue.
Oh, absolutely. Not looking good for Purdue right now. I mean, Ascent clearly is a pretty strong map from Indiana. And right now, they also have the power of the purse on their side. So after even getting that match, they're going to force the eco. Should be able to take another. and all but put themselves onto match point. As you can see, it's nothing but, you know, the bottom of the bargain bin right now from Purdue.
A little aggression for Cryptic, you know, get some info. This toxic screen covering things off. I mean, speaking of toxic screen, just Viper in general on Haven, on Ascent. Not traditional these days, but certainly been a an option throughout the years here.
Yeah, even though I'm a Viper fan, I gotta tell you, I really don't see much of Viper on Ascent. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that was the right call or the right play, but what was Opted on that KO. Currently top fragging for Indiana, able to solidify that round win, and now it looks as though Indiana might be running away with this one.
It is certainly looking that way. But, I mean, at the same time, Indiana bringing us here, or excuse me, Purdue bringing us here, I thought was ambitious considering the outcome of their last matchup on this map. And, well, here we are again. You know, Indiana's getting the better of the Purdue squad for the moment. We'll see a pace change, Swift out towards B. And Indiana, not even troubled. Simba will get 2 opening engagements.
Yeah, and I think they might have picked up an Odin as well. That's even more dangerous. Meanwhile, you got the real honcho here with the operator in hand, able to find one. They know exactly where they are. They're in mid, over towards market, trying to find a read over in B main. B smooth will be gunned down and hold the phone. Purdue might be waking up here in the late game as Druff gets blinded, but not gunned down. Simba with the save, and now it's a 1v1. The real honcho with an op in hand has to take on Druff.
Druff in these 1v1s. Giving it his best shot. It's been going down. This time, missed shot from the real honcho allows Druff victory with ease. 12 to the 5. And match point, as the announcer lady just says, time is ticking away. 7 in a row, the requirement.
Yeah, and you know what? I got to be honest. Like, I'm a big fan of the snipers. The real honcho has been putting on a show when it comes to the marshals and operators. But once you get into that 1v1 ring around the rosy around the box, it's time to switch to the vandal. There was like 5 vandals on the ground near their feet. I might be exaggerating, but still, I know you could have stepped on one, picked up the vandal, and then.
Listen, I call that the no nade zone, but it's also the no swap zone.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, you're in a 1v1. It's as soon as you make that swap that you're getting swung. So you don't swap. That's just my personal vibe.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's valid. 100% valid. But at the same time, I'm a trash can, so what do I know? But regardless, we're going into match point now in the favor of Purdue. And it looks like we might be going into a game number 3. But still an opportunity for Indiana to put it into Purdue here, but the real honcho is going to find an early 2-piece. Hold on, Purdue might not be done just yet.
But hey, there is Blade Storm. Always can bring things back. The real honcho gathering a lot of information, though. Finds out what's going on. Poor man, Akame. Can't catch a break there. The Vandal for Enjoy certainly working wonders as the Reckoning gets put out there. And SM working back in. Cascade leading the charge. The real honcho finding another frag out mid. And now it's up to 1 man. Simba, whose Blades still up
30
officially.
seconds left. I got the spike.
The spike not at all down. This is a little bit of a weird position and very winnable because of it. But never mind. The real honcho shooting him out of the air. Like a clay pigeon.
Well, there you have it. That is going to be a round win going the way of Purdue, but still, they have only halved the lead that Indiana has managed to gain here on Ascent, and they still have a very long way to go, as Indiana still looking at match point, only 1 round win away from sending us to split in game 3.
I mean, to me, it's a matter of how long does it take to get there. There is a long road ahead for Purdue. As much as I'd love to see them make this comeback, feels like Indiana kind of have the better of the two in this one thus far. There is some tools to
Scanning
work
ahead.
with as well. The lockdown available.
The Omen ult, the TP also available. And Spaghetti will be the first to be gunned down here at B main. Interesting to see how that played, as now you can have the mid to B push all wide open for Indiana. They're going to take that without question, find the final elimination, and get a flawless victory to wrap things up here on Ascent.
Well, that will do it indeed. And there's a couple of things to talk about there, but I think that realistically, there is two biggest factors. The first of which is that Indiana just never stopped making plays. When it came down to their defensive side, there was basically any creative way that they could get information in the early round, they were doing. And they often were getting an opening pick with it as well, if not two. That's a problem that Purdue are going to have to deal with. The other problem is that, well, I hate to be that guy, but where was the rest of... I feel like we didn't see the rest of the team for Purdue other than in MS outside of a couple of rounds from the real honcho. Like, we were missing a couple of pieces.
Yeah, I can't help but agree. I mean, it feels bad when you have to put it in such terms, but I mean, it is what it is, you know, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, we saw it, we saw it live for that matter. So yeah, 100%. You know, NMS, you know, they came out swinging 12-0 to start off the first 3 rounds, and you know, they ended up finishing what was like 18 eliminations around there. You know, around 18. Actually, you know what? I got the score sheet right here. I can tell you, NMS ended up finishing with 18 eliminations. So again, they just came to a screeching halt, and you got to wonder what was the cause of that. I mean, me personally, as someone with, you know, some competitive esports experience, can tell you, I think it was the fatigue. I think it was the stamina. I think they ulted too early. You know, they just absolutely popped off in the beginning, and they had no steam left going into the second half.
Well, whatever the problem was, they have a couple of minutes to figure it out. We, too, are going to take a couple of minutes before we get into map 3. We got Split coming up right after this. Okay.
All I want
Yep.
for Christmas is your face.
Hello and welcome back to map 3. We're heading towards Split. My name is Vincent, joined by Captain Soak, as we have been here for the last couple of maps. This series, I mean, it's been heating all the way through, but it's really hot at this point.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, I mean, my goodness. Especially, considering that Purdue managed to take game number 1 quite impressively, I might add. And then we go to Ascent, and then they start out hot. They come out hot. They started out 4-0 in the round count. And again, they won the bonus of all things, but yet, they really couldn't solidify. They couldn't confirm. And, it started to slip away. And then that kind of snowballed into them going 7-5 in the half. And then that snowballed to Indiana just taking it all in the second half and taking that map on Ascent. And now we're going to map 3. We're going to Split. And I got to say, I'm all here for it. I absolutely love watching Split. Notice I said watching and not playing.
I do see the difference that you have made there. Counterpoint here. Listen, did Purdue start out hot, or did NMS start out hot? Is there a difference? Some would say no. Some would counter with yes. Others would say something different. What I do know is that NMS was incredible at the beginning of that second map. The problem is, listen, this is not a degradation. This is not me saying anything negative about NMS, but that didn't continue. And so here we are.
Yep, here we are. And finally, I think we do get to see that it is Purdue that is going to bring the ISO and the Deadlock, the two newest characters. I've seen ISO on Split. I've actually seen that. Like, that's not too surprising to me. Deadlock on Split, never seen it. I've never seen it.
Me just Googling the name of ISO's abilities because I don't know any of them.
Nah, it's just the 1v1. Send them to the gulag. That's what I call
it.
I know. I mean, I know it has an actual name, but come on, nobody calls it that. Like, it's the 1v1.
True.
Look, you could take them to the 1v1. Yeah, the gulag, shipment, take them to
shipment.
You can take them to shipment,
wrong
what I
game.
mean? I know, I'm not done. Take them to Rust.
Okay.
But you get the point.
It's too bad. Listen, next agent, Riot, I'm cooking here. What if instead of a 1v1, instead of the gulag, it's 2v2s, and you can bring a teammate with you? I don't know, man. I'm telling you, this is good ideas, right? You don't even have to pay me. You could have it for free.
Well, NMS not going to be taking that first limb for free. They had to earn it, but they are going to get traded out as the push does come from the side of Indiana as they manage to trade their way all the way down to a 3v3. As you can see, Spaghetti watching up into the rafters, looking to try and get a cheeky pick, but none will be found as now the spike will tick away against Purdue.
Honcho on this ISO that we were just talking about. And again, clearing out some angles on the retake. It's Purdue, who made their way forward. Quite a large amount of info gain. Honcho gets a free shot. Go around the corner, but now he's alone. 3, 2, and Honcho says no. It's going to be a first round for Purdue for the third time.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it is amazing to see how well Purdue can make the non-meta compositions work. And again, got to give a shout out to my homie Bolby, in our production chat there, just for pointing that out, because they're absolutely correct. I mean, Purdue, with their, again, non-meta agent selection, both on Bind and, starting things off here on Split, got to say, it's pretty fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. I mean, and hey, listen, they have put together a pretty solid look for all the compositions that they've been running. We'll see how the ISO goes. Honestly, I haven't seen enough of ISO at all to even comment on it. I'm just down to see it.
You're finished.
Well, you can see that they're already going to find that first elimination here in round number 2. I mean, they do have the weapon advantage, and they're able to find 2, but will be traded out eventually. Thanks to Be Smooth. Is now Druff and company are going to be making their way up into ropes here, but guess who is there and waiting? It's Spaghetti.
Enjoy potentially going to make contact over an A, or maybe just hold station, just look and see. I do like the patience here for Indiana, knowing that, hey, not around they have the weapon advantage, so just try and wait things out. Hope that somebody's going to get a little bit too aggressive or too far forward. Catch them out. It doesn't particularly happen. Druff has gotten into an interesting spot. Does seem to know where Cryptic was located, but still can't find success.
Last player
and
standing.
they drop the spike in the process, and now only Enjoy remains as they too will be gunned down. And that is Purdue going to be starting things off with a 2-0 lead. Pretty much what we expected after you win the pistol round. I mean, it's Valorant. You win the pistols, you win the round second, and then sometimes you win the bonus. I mean, Purdue, so far, they have won 2 bonuses. One in which it led to a win on Bind, and then they got another bonus on Ascent in which they lost. So, again, we'll just have to see going into this next round. It's going to be a bye round coming from Indiana, and a possible bonus going to Purdue.
Yeah, last time they won the bonus, they followed it up by winning 1 additional round the rest of the half. Hopefully that's not what happens this time. Nebula put out in front, Spaghetti with the opening pick. Sheriff in hand, and it is indeed looking good for the Purdue start. Simba taking that space immediately, though. Love that response from Simba. Gathering this space back after Spaghetti falls away.
And the trade's going the way of Purdue here. I mean, at least so far. I mean, it's only 1 elimination, but still, you know, you want to be the team that gets the early pick. You want to get that first pick. I mean, how often do we hear the term play for picks? Almost all the time when you're playing Valorant. So regardless, this is a great start, especially for a team that's in somewhat of like, an eco round. And out goes that net nade, and we have talked plenty about that. I absolutely hate it. But NMS, they make it work.
Been making it work no matter what. Drop on the run out there towards B. Meets death and despair coming with a frag and a crossfire set. B. Simba picking up what's the only kill of this round for Indiana. And it seems like that might stay that way unless he can do more.
Well, they fully are aware of where Simba is. NMS able to get a couple of shots just on the elbow that was peeking out from Simba. And there you have it. They managed to find the bonus round. And I will be completely honest with you, Vision. I did not think they were going to get it.
What'd you just call me? What'd you just say?
Vision? Vincent? I said Vision. I said Vision, didn't I? I meant Vincent.
It's one of those broadcasts, Soka. I get it. It's fine.
My bad. It's Vincent.
Pair of glasses to you.
No, I wear glasses too.
It's all good.
I don't know why I said Vision.
I'll give you a hard time.
That's okay. I deserve it.
It happens way too often. That's why I have to give everybody a hard time.
That's all right. I get a Sokka or Atsuka, and then I have to hit him with the Hermione Granger and say, it's Soka, not Sokka.
Oh, I pray for the day you hit me with the Hermione Granger.
Nah, it's not happening.
Well, that's an unfortunate barrier mesh. Just locking him out of the B site for the moment. B smooth. I thought they had some moves. Unfortunately, death was quickly following that. Simba, this seems like a very similar situation here. Do you recall 1v4, Simba?
Yeah, I am getting a little deja vu, and it's going to be none other than the Monkey King to finish them off, and also the real honcho there to find the final elimination for Purdue. And, fun fact, I'm actually being told by production right now that the fans in chat picked Purdue to take map 3 and pull the upset and, be the first elimination onto the record of Indiana here in the BEC.
Chat, how many of you guys attend Purdue? I'm just wondering.
Online classes still count.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm surveying our chat for biases. Right now, though, Purdue looking phenomenal, and honestly wouldn't be surprised to see them taking it based on this start. Absolutely absurd. And this time, I mean, it's not just in MS, right? I mean, we're seeing the real honcho just absolutely stupendous coming away with frag after frag, too, to begin this gun round.
And then the ISO double tap is just so cool. I mean, we can, argue about its validity all the live long day and its viability, but at the end of the day, it is just a cool ability from ISO. All of ISO's abilities in the agent themselves, they just look really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Even if I feel like the 1v1's kind of absurd, but
I love it.
I mean, it's cool. It's just when I think about it from a competitive standpoint, I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah.
All right, now look at it in a ranked perspective.
Yeah, and then I'm like, whoa,
1v1 me, bro. 1v1 me. Settle it in ones.
30 seconds left.
Show me a target.
We might be seeing some more work there from that ISO, the real honcho, readying up to move forward. A missed shot by Cryptic, as we'll see the neural tap come down, and it is indeed the real honcho to clean things up. Akame swinging on that contact from the side.
And take a look at this, Purdue. My goodness, 5-0 now. Looking really good. And you got to remember, we saw them on bind and they managed to, accumulate 6 wins before we saw Indiana get their first. So I'm wondering if we're going to see a replication of that here today. I mean, when you're looking at the buy, it looks like it's going to go that way, considering that, it kind of looks like that Indiana is going to be forced to an eco round. And, they're kind of like scraping the bottom of the bargain bin. They got 2 stingers. So that's something.
I mean, hey, stinger used to be the second best sniper rifle in the game, according to me and my friend Los.
It was funny.
You may
for a long time. I
may disagree, but it was fantastic. Now it's Shadow, its former self, but still can be effective in these close range scenarios.
Yeah, I used to have a strong stance against the Stinger because I was bad at using it, but my mind has been changed. I'm okay with it now.
What? Spaghetti just got airstriked. That's so third lane coming from the top. Sneakers coming through, and now it's a 3-on-4. The real honcho in some trouble as the Trailblazer needs to charge right back in. Cryptic and the real honcho heading from CT. And NMS from heaven.
Nice smoke there just to block off NMS from getting any cheeky peeks, but I guess it's not going to stop them at all because they managed to get one on an Enjoy, and now Be Smooth, thanks to the kill feed, able to find 3, and now Indiana finally decide to show up here on Split on a thrifty round.
I mean, hey, listen, you need rounds no matter how you can get them. Be Smooth with an incredible couple of kills, filling up the feed with 3 in a row. That said, you aren't going to have that every time. We need something a bit more consistent, a bit more replicable here from Indiana. And I think that starts with this round, but these really slow starts from Indiana, they are troublesome. I don't know if this is something that they've been dealing with, but this series, it's been nothing but.
Well, here we go. We're now going into round number 7. And finally, we do get to see a little bit of a resurgence of Pulse, a sign of life coming from Indiana, as they're going to be throwing all their utility out towards mid, both into ropes and into the rafters, and it will be the real honcho to get dealt with first.
That is certainly one way to start things out, and I mean, thinking of how dominant the real honcho has been, it's critical to remove that piece of the puzzle. Move out towards A. One that I would agree with. I like this rotation, but it does seem like that is being anticipated. Grab net, ready to roll. NMS going to hope to shut them down, and it will. Opted caught. No way to move. Showstopper does win and finds NMS, but not before NMS finds 2 kills.
1 enemy remaining.
Yep, and now there goes another Spaghetti, now in a 2v1 here.
1 enemy
they
remaining.
could pull it off as they managed to find up Ted. Damaged And they will get the elim, and now it is a 1v1. And this is where you want ISO, but we don't have ISO. We have Sky, we have Astra, and let's see who's going to be able to come out on top. The audio cue goes off. They know the plant is there. They get the read from up on high. Spaghetti looking down, going to be throwing out some utility. That looks like a gravity well. They call it in, but I think it might have been a little bit too little, too late. The swing goes, and Spaghetti get their shots on target first, and that's going to be another round win. And oh, please don't tell me he just hit the gritty on him. Was that what that was?
I'm not gonna answer that. I don't know.
Clutch.
I don't know. What I do know, Spaghetti, that was nuts. I love that. Specifically, that second kill, swinging into the paint shells and knowing that, hey, that is the win con, is isolating that duel, knowing that, hey, this last player is light years away. No way to get there in time. Great work there from Spaghetti, and what a way. I mean, that is a round and potentially like game and series winning play, because it individually resets the momentum, and on a team basis, the econ starts to get a little bit dicey as the rebuys come in here for the attackers. Purdue doing a great job as Optic leads the charge.
Goodbye.
Yep, and just as quickly, Optic will be dealt with thanks to the Spectre in hand from Akame, as now the blind fires through the Cypher cage do manage to connect, and now Enjoy is going to be pushing their way through. They have a read onto Akame for most, but Akame is quick on the sticks. They get the read up ropes, and thanks to Spaghetti, they will be able to come through with the final eliminations to get the 7th round win in the favor of Purdue.
Akame just will not go down. That is what was required. Staying alive, being incredibly slippery, and Akame making all of those moves work. Love to see it. What I think is so impressive there is that Akame falls back close range, right? Gets support from his teammate, and then gets out as well as his teammate goes down. Poor guy got baited into it, just insta-goes down with a headshot, but Akame delivered.
Yeah, that they did. And now we have our first timeout on Split, and you know what that means. It's time for the Vincent and Etsoka show. Real quick, as we're in timeout, Phantom or Vandal, where does your rifle allegiance lie?
Vandal, all day, every day.
All day, every day. I was also Vandal for quite some time myself, and recently have been, experimenting with the Phantom, and you know what? I gotta say, I'm loving it right now. I really am, and I just got a really nifty Phantom skin thanks to the night market, so I'm gonna be on Phantom for a little minute.
Yeah, see, skins do equal wins, so I can't argue with you there. I'm a knower. Indiana, making their way back into this map is going to be a tall task, but here we go. The first step is here and now with a timeout called. Not the best of weaponry, Stingers, Guardian, a couple of Sheriffs, but we saw them do it with less. Their only round this entire map is Thrifty.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that the Classic was not called the Deputy. Because the Sheriff, the Deputy, and then you also have the Marshal.
And then the Guardian as well. That could be something.
Gun here.
That could be. But regardless, we can see it is going to be a B push as the spike will... No! The spike doesn't go down! They caught the Cypher with the ult! And they were able to escape, but my goodness, what a way to negate the plant. And now it is Purdue cleaning up B site, and only Opted remains with 20 health, and they will be eliminated. Wow, what a play coming from NMS and the real honcho.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good spot to use that Annihilation, and you get some good utility out of it, and even though, yeah, they do get out, it doesn't matter. We got 8-1. Man, how did this get so out of hand so quickly? I just blown away right now. The real honcho putting together so much when it comes to this ISO, but Spaghetti in that 1vx also just coming to clutch when it mattered most.
Well, here we go now into round number 10. Let's see if they could do it again. Although it is going to be a full buy. Well, nearly a full buy. You got rifles in hand coming from the side of Indiana. And you do have one Neuro Theft. On the other side for Purdue, they do have the Cosmic Divide. As you can see, Opted is going to try and force their way here into ropes. Akame on the other side, Judge in hand. And out goes the blinding light, but nobody going to be making the push. I think they're just going to be a lurky turkey here in the corner.
Beast move, big delivery.
I know exactly.
Seekers as well. That's good information. All heading out towards B, and they're going to lead the charge right into an empty or relatively empty site. Spike can go down for free. Enjoy. We'll put that in. And there is a post plant set up. Already a player inside of B main. 5-on-4.
Slow and steady comes the retake. If they can try and pull this one off, I mean, they don't have any. Well, they do have the Cosmic Divide, and that's pretty much it. But I'm not sure how much that's going to be able to do for them. They're going to have to play for a pick here. Akami now forced their way down low, and they're going to get a lot of picks until finally you do see a 1v1. Now it is Spaghetti versus their counterpart, and now out comes the Cosmic Divide. That is clutch. We have to see if they're going to go. No, it's the Gravity Well that pulls Spaghetti out from behind the Cosmic Divide. What a play by Druff to win the 1v1.
It's exactly what was needed. Druff delivering, and a second round on the board. Hey, the attack side on this map, traditionally not so great, though I'll be honest, the last couple times I've watched Split, it's not been all that defensive sided, but I don't know what the actual stat numbers look like. What I do know is that we are approaching the end of this first half, just 2 rounds left, and the worst case scenario here is for Indiana to lose this round.
Yeah, that would be the absolute worst case scenario. But with that being said, all that remains is for the plays to be made. Let's see if Indiana will be able to come in, or will Purdue just continue to dominate here on Split. Meanwhile, you do have Enjoy going in towards A, and they managed to find the read on Akame. That is going to be a big early pick here for the side of Indiana.
Enjoy taking that space with the real honcho here to save the day for Purdue. Dropping out onto the side as well. That Sky going to make their way back through. That's Cryptic. And an adjustment being made. Just one man still on A. The rest heading towards B, where there's now Spaghetti, an additional defender located in MS here on support as the barrier mesh falls.
And the pace has come down to a screeching halt here as Druff is able to find the elimination on NMS. And now it should be another plant here on towards the B site. And hold the phone. Here comes the 1v1. The real honcho is going to lose in their own ultimate. Druff once again comes in clutch.
Hey, that'll happen to you. Can't win them all. And this time, Spaghetti is going to have to try and 1v4. He has a 1v3 already. I don't think this is a real legitimate attempt. Just trying to find a kill. See if anybody's going to give him one of these 1v1s. Ooh, halted. Certainly been heard. Ooh, turning on a dime. Spaghetti starting to run out of time. Oh, and that's a great little one-way that will give Druff the advantage. His 3 kills.
Last round before the switch.
For the 3rd round.
I mean, not a bad effort by but Spaghetti either. You know, we were thinking they was just going to get 1 exit frag maybe, and then they end up coming away with 2. So, I mean, if you're going to go down, might as go down with a 2-to-1 ratio. Not bad at all. And still a 5-round lead in the favor of Purdue as we get ready to head into the last round of the first half. And honestly, this one can go either way at this point. I'm thinking, you know, maybe a best case scenario for Indiana, they go into the half 8-4, and then maybe can make something happen here. But as you can see, it will be a Druff to find the first elimination on the real honcho.
This will be a 4th round potentially, especially with this opening pick. Split towards A. Seems almost a certainty with this mid control. Well, Showstopper going to be heading towards ramp into heaven. It'll find nobody. The work being done, but Akame is in a tough spot with the judge. That's not ideal.
And I honestly got to take a moment to just thank the devs for buffing Cypher as much as they have. and making them viable once more as we get a 2-for-2 trade there in at ropes. And now we are down to a 3v2 once again on everybody's favorite site location. It's B.
Seems to me that this retake unlikely, but they'll give it their best shot. Everybody stacked up in the back of the site. Trades aplenty here, all offset. Positions to work with, the dash queued up by the look of things as well.
One enemy remaining.
There it is, Simba taking the shot, moving away, Cryptic alone, but nothing gonna save this day. Simba will get the fourth, and it will close things out.
Switching
the
sides.
round comeback. Not an ideal scoreline, but when you look at it without the context of that strong start at Toka, 8-4 ain't that bad.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, that's salvageable, you know, and honestly, anything's better than a 9-3. But with that being said, you know, the 8-4, definitely not bad either. And like you had mentioned, you know, considering the strong start that we saw from Purdue, it was good on the side of Indiana to salvage the rest of that half. And now we get to see what Purdue can do on the attacking side of the spike as we get ready to get the first round all back to the Pistols, as now we get the first round of the second half underway.
Pistola, time to roll. Speaking of underway, it's over 2A in MS. Gonna start the proceedings out strong. Be smooth. This could be a fantastic little flank. How's the timing on lock? This is phenomenal. Free shot. That's Spaghetti down. The spike out in the open. Then support now coming in MS. Able to isolate the one, but dropping Be smooth. Was overwhelmed. The flank upcoming. And Akame has the first to 1v3. Now the requirement.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one here. 22 health to their name. Classic in hand. I don't know. I don't think this one's going to go to Akame here, especially if they're not going to check their corners. Come on, Simba! Into the corner, able to get the cheeky peek onto Akame, get the final elimination, and the first win of the second half goes to Indiana.
Hey, that'll do it, right? Indiana right back in this thing. I always say it. You know, 8-4, 7-5, whatever, you know, anywhere in that category, you're just one pistol round away from being right back in the matchup. And that's exactly what we just saw here. Now, whether or not they'll be able to activate and take advantage of that, you know, put together some of these strong starts like we've been seeing from Purdue, that's another question entirely. But step one is complete.
Now they have the power of the purse on their side, at least for this round. Let's see if they can make the most of it here. As you do see, it is going to be a slow push now, mostly concentrated over towards mid, but look at Droff now getting the read on Spaghetti here onto B main. They're going to throw out the cloud, the smoke, just so that way they can block off garage. And I think that was a little bit of a bait and switch there, as now the concentration is at mid, and one elimination goes the way of Opted, and the real honcho will be gunned down as well. And Be smooth able to find Spaghetti, and now only one player remains in MS. Will be dealt with as well, and that will be a flawless victory going the way of Indiana.
Hey, you talked about the power of the purse. That is one way to build some cash flow and get a pretty easy, well, easy may be the wrong word, pretty nice bonus round, as in you don't have to upgrade anybody because nobody died. So no money going out. That means money staying in. So the sheer amount of Spectres in this round are maybe a little bit terrifying. Don't have the biggest of firepower, but on a map like Split, do you really need it? I'd argue probably not.
Oh, absolutely not. And even for the most part, I see a lot of teams just run in here with the judge and just go guns a-blazing for the most part on Split, you know, given that there's so many close quarters to take advantage of. But, you know, the Spectres, those can also do a wallop. But meanwhile, we do see that the push is going to be making its way over towards A, as Druff tries to hold by their lonesome. But here comes the cavalry. Simba able to join Druff, as now another trade will be made. And we have ourselves a 3v2, this time in the favor of Purdue.
Good trades to get onto that site. Love it.
Spike planted.
A little bit of damage could be done with those paint shells, and Opted. You've been doing it with the rifle. Barrier mesh, not a factor. Over in CT, 7 HP for Spaghetti. Big clutch before, it needs another here, but Enjoy says no. Bonus victory for Indiana. They're making it happen.
Yeah, that was a huge bonus round too, and dare I say even needed, given that, you know, they have pretty much guaranteed that they're going to be taking yet another round off of their opponent here, because again, they bought up last round. You know, they bought the Vandals and they all bought quarter shield, well, half shields, and they're going to be left with little to zilch to buy going into the next round. So we should see ourselves an even game, 8-8. But again, we've seen thrifty rounds happen in the past. Purdue can definitely make one happen now. But, I mean, when you're looking at the elimination count here, it is, again, it's definitely more spread out on the side of Indiana. And it's a little bit more concentrated when you look at Purdue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's an unfair statement to say that Purdue have lived and died by some of their star performances. And there's nothing wrong with that. That'll lead you to success more often than not. Drop at range against the Sheriffs. Come away victorious. We'll continue to put fire down range and shot out for it.
Last player standing.
Akami will now go get killed there, and it will be Cryptic to also fall. And now we have ourselves an 8-8 tie game. The comeback has officially come through for Indiana.
I feel like Indiana just always keeping their mind into this game, never overwhelmed by a lead, even as superb as that 8-4. At one point an 8-1 half, or 8-1 scoreline, remember? So they never feeling like they're out of it. I feel like that is a big part of their success. Some of these comebacks required over on Ascent, but certainly was attempted on Bind. Now we're here. The lead, 1 round away.
Grenade!
And I gotta tell you right now, Purdue, they love going mid, but they get pumped so often. And now the showstopper is going to connect on Spaghetti, and that's gonna be 2 early picks in mid. Again, you know, we have seen a mid push almost every single time coming from Purdue.
Scout destroyed.
And again, they get punished for it. Now they're at the disadvantage as they finally collect Spike, and they're gonna try going through mid again.
I mean, mid a critical part of map control on this map, right? You have to get that position if you want to go anywhere in the late round, or, you know, find any split.
Pull cat.
Fortunately, as you mentioned, it's not been a very successful
Spike down
area.
mid.
It continues to be a big issue.
Erased. Where is everyone?
Oh, there they go. They're able to get rid of the deadlock there, as they do throughout the neural theft. Should be able to get some good information off of that, as now the Cypher Cage goes up. In Indiana, they still have the player advantage. 4v2. Be Smooth will be eliminated. Akame with a cheeky limb there just from the flank. As now they're going to be pushing in towards rope as the guiding light does go out. Akame looking to get the read here. They managed to find one, but they can't find Enjoy, who walks away with a 2-piece. And for the first time on Split, Indiana get the lead.
Great double swing. That's exactly what you needed. Let the first player make contact close range. Everybody turns to deal with that, and that's when Enjoy can activate, can get a forward position, and we'll get both of them in return. Another weird buy situation. Everybody half buying or buying what they can, except for the Honcho, who's gone for the hero rifle. Has been limited in their effectiveness on this attack side thus far. Don't know if that is ISO related, but, well, ISO down immediately. An utterly aggressive position. A second missed shot from Simba will allow some victory. The site available to drop. He's still here, hanging out.
1 enemy remaining.
I gotta tell you, this is a very interesting round coming from Purdue. You know, they take what little they had and they're able to make a lot out of it. As you do see the Neuro Theft now going to be going out. They get the information. Enjoy does get the swing on one and gets the one tap on Akame. Enjoy again ends the round in a clutch two-piece on what woulda, shoulda, coulda been a thrifty round for Purdue. Just ends up being a clutch for Indiana.
And I enjoy just taking the initiative in that fight. Knows, hey, I gotta get info. The Neural Theft, great way to do just that. It also puts a timer on your opposition and makes it difficult because they can't hang around. They can't sit in the same spot. Otherwise, that Neural Theft is gonna get activated. So, had to make some moves. Great way to isolate the duels and catch first the player off the plant and then the planter after it goes down. 2 rounds the lead. They've not dropped around this half.
And, you know, that statement alone is really impressive. Going into the second half without dropping around. You got to give it to their performance here. As now you can see Purdue is going to be able to take the player advantage here in round 19. They do get the Neural Theft as well, so that's going to be a lot of information as the spike is now ticking away on Indiana. And now, here comes the Jellyfish, the Seekers, now going to be coming out to do work as well.
Is looking almost impossible to win now with Opted locked out from CT. Simba's coming around, but he's got to deal with Akame, and well dealt with, I guess. Maybe there is time to work with here. Shot hit by Spaghetti in a second, done so. 4 frags for Spaghetti, who's very quickly solidified themselves as the top fragger here for Purdue, up to 23 frags.
Yep, and this game is getting oh so closer, especially here in the late game. It's going to be coming down to the wire. And like you said, Spaghetti, 23 elims, a 20 bomb, and the round's not even over. Well, the game's not even over here on Split. But you know what? I got to ask you, the Seekers have come out quite a few times here tonight. Do you have a pet name for the Seekers? You know, a lot of people call them Jellyfish.
They are my cabbages.
Cabbages, okay. So you're with Ravish on that one.
Yes.
All right, fair enough.
Cabbages is the right answer, IMO.
Fair enough. Can't argue with it. I honestly don't know what they are, so they could be anything.
Also, listen, I just very much appreciate yelling my cabbages all the time.
Yes! There's so many that might not appreciate that, but I do.
I'm glad you do. Oh, Blade Storm is out. Oh, it's a good angle for him, but it's just the first and only the first. Full blind, or full stun, excuse me. Be Smooth could have come through that smoke, but didn't know have the information. Real Honcho getting a free kill. It's Enjoy to trade, and the HP is low for the final 2 members of Purdue.
Hawkats blinded.
Last player standing.
That double tap might have been the clutch, but unfortunately they were not able to eat that double swing as Enjoy. Once again, it's always Enjoy to be the last player standing coming from the side of Indiana and to get the defuse. Once again, Enjoy being able to come in clutch for Indiana.
It's a round of doubles, and Enjoy doubling up on the clutches. I mean, that is incredible work. You also have to appreciate how quick, I guess, that retake came through. Almost immediately the pressure was on, even though the 2 trades came in on site. Barely the spike had gone down, at which point we saw everybody for Indiana making their way back in, isolating fights. And though B Smooth goes down early, he allowed enough of a space to get back into that fight.
And right now, my mathematical brain is being torn asunder because, I mean, when you look at the eliminations to deaths, when you look to, again, like, the ratio here. I mean, if this was TDM, I mean, Purdue would be running away with it right now. They'd be winning, but, the eliminations aren't enough. As you can see, the Real Honcho able to get the first, going into ropes, now looking to get a second, and they get it with the double tap online. And now Purdue they are running away with it here in this round. And finally, the Real Honcho gets eliminated, only Opted to remain for Indiana.
Yeah, that contingency, one of the best utilizations of it that we've seen thus far. I feel like it's been great to see the Real Honcho. I mean, I feel like it's mostly been the double tap that's been effectively used to get that space, but offensive utilization, that's where you can really find success as an ISO, and was done so in this round. Just a save call. Nothing, no risk, no fancy maneuvers. And we'll see.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit.
Got to keep a handle on that money, and I mean, it's been a great run of rounds here, but Indiana, by no means a guarantee. This is still a close game.
It's only a one-round difference. I mean, the only thing closer would be an equalizer, which, honestly, very well could happen going into the next round, as, again, that was a round win going the way of Purdue, and now they're going to have enough money, once again, to full buy here. There's going to be rifles and full shields all around. Meanwhile, the economy right now on the side of Indiana looking pretty broken.
Yeah, this is bad news. I think Indiana, this is the right call. Opted, of course, having that saved gun, gonna stick on it. Maybe can make this work, and I like this call as well. Able to just get towards the site. Ooh, little 1v1. Hello. This time he wins it.
I mean, you're bound to win one of them, if you're able to find the 1v1s. And now here we are, a 5v2 post plant. This should be the equalizer. As only one player now remains, Druff, who will be eliminated, and that is a flawless round. Although I do find it interesting that they chose to use that ISO ult on an eco round.
I mean, yeah, at the same time, look at the scoreline. This is a situation where you cannot allow a mistake. Any error is an error that gives map and series point over to your opposition. So, hey, use it or lose it. That's the way I always address it, though it does leave you with just the annihilation into this next one. And as we know, even though NMS is great with it, it's not the best of ultimates.
It's the most fun. Well, okay, that's cap too. That's not the most fun. Honestly, the most fun ultimate. I mean, the most fun ultimate to me is honestly Deadlock's ult, because to me it's the most hilarious. Like, watching a player get dragged to their doom ever so slowly, to me is just hilarious. Like, I laugh every time I see it come out. But ISO's ult is fun too. You get to settle it in the 1v1s. But regardless, here we are now going into round 23, dead even at 11 rounds apiece.
Over there.
Here we roll. Doubled up towards mid at the moment, or actually towards heaven, excuse me. Speaking of the push-up ramp here, not netting too much information offensively. Simba will know what's going on. Oh, there goes the annihilation, hoping to get a freebie. Doesn't work out. Barrier mesh will go through with Joy from the site, able to get the frag, and the contingency now down. Doesn't allow any further follow-up from the attackers.
Well, they have full control of heaven now on towards the A site, but for how long? Look at Opted just hanging out around the side with that judge, but they're going to opt out to go through ropes here, and they're going to completely rotate over towards B, and this should give them control over ropes on towards that B side as well. As you can see, Opted trying to force their way in, does have the nades and the judge in hand, not able to find an elimination. Druff will be next to be eliminated as they find a two-piece, and the spike will go down.
Now that the last three remain, have to make their way forward. Quick is Enjoy. He's got two with the help of Simba. And this is cut down to Cryptic, who's in the 1-on-2. Clutch required, but he can't find it. That is Indiana finding the 12th round necessary to put them on map and series point.
And you know what? If they don't get that win, they lose. I mean, there's no way around it. If they do not secure that round win, then it goes to Purdue. They were hurting in terms of economy. As a matter of fact, they're still hurting. I mean, they're going to have to come through with, again, a bargain buy at best. So, again, this is still not out of it for Purdue. I mean, if they come away here with the win, then all of a sudden we got OT.
Seems like a real possibility. There is a couple of things, though, that might help them. Optit has the Showstopper, and there's a Cosmic Divide, both available for the defense of Indiana. Gonna go for early info down mid, just a guiding light to get the information, though. Not gonna follow up on that at all. And around where mistakes can be the difference between OT and victory, you can understand a bit more of a passive approach.
Purdue trying to stay quiet here, but they get picked out by Enjoy to find the first pick, and that is going to be a crucial pick when you are working with a budget buy like Indiana is right now.
Real Honcho has a lot of space. Look at this walk up mid. All the way towards Zip Room at this moment. Showstopper coming through. Opted just clearing angle after angle, though. Getting confirmation that nobody's here. Oh, this is tough. The Real Honcho has gotten into a great spot. He's got a freebie kill on the Be Smooth.
And you know what? Still not the worst showstopper either, because if anything, at least they cleared out mid. I mean, mid is wide open now. I mean, it's definitely within the possession of that raise on the side of Indiana. And now Simba able to find an elimination as the Real elimination. He finds another, but Simba on the flick finds two, and only one player remains that will be eliminated, and Indiana come away with the win on Split.
What a comeback maneuver. I mean, Simba coming through in the end as well, just consistently in those last 5 rounds, I feel like was the it factor. You know, talk about like that 3v4 clutch that came through. There was a lot of work there, but him and Joy specifically, I feel like stepped up the very end of that game in an incredible way. With that said, I mean, a ridiculous game of Valorant that we just saw. Come back in both the first map, though it didn't get completed, wasn't required in the second, and 8-1 after that, they come back and make it a victory. Talk about the most absurd Valorant we've seen.
And honestly, I'm still confused. Not even confused. I guess my math isn't mathing, just because, again, the eliminations are, you know, single-handedly going the other way. They're going to Purdue. But at the end of the day, the round wins, they fall into the favor of Indiana. Again, it was the objective. Stay on the objective, and that's what really came through. But even still, you know, just the difference in eliminations that were, you know, I would just think that one would go the way of Purdue. I mean, you're looking at it right now, and you got 220 bombs coming from the Real Honcho and Spaghetti on the side of Purdue, and then you have Simba on the side of Indiana, was the only player to drop 20 on their team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it kind of goes to show you, though, that like it doesn't always matter. Like the showy fragging, as fun as it is to watch, like the Real Honcho just dominated the first half, but unfortunately wasn't silent in the second, but didn't quite have the same impact as then. And then the clutch moments. I mean, Enjoy back-to-back rounds, able to clutch out 1v2, then 1v1 was incredible. Those rounds mean more than any triple kill that you can find is closing those rounds. Rounds win games, as I like to always say. And I think a team effort at the end of the day here for Indiana.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think now is a good time for you and I to pick our MVPs of today. And you know what? I'm going to start off actually with our observer MVP. They decided to go with Be Smooth coming from the side of Indiana, and then they wanted to go with NMS on the side of Purdue. And you know what? I couldn't help but agree. And that, to me, that tracks. And I would actually have to copy the sentiments of Bowlby as well, you know, in production, that those would have to be my MVPs as well.
Yeah, I think Be Smooth is like a real solid shout. But I think to me, it's actually a Simba MVP. I think Simba, performance-wise, especially over on Ascent, like just the continuation, Ascent into Split, little bit better. But I think it's hard to pick out like an individual there, because there was a lot of, like, everybody had a moment in Split that really allowed them to shine for the Indiana squad. But I think Simba probably is who I would go with if I had to take somebody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you're looking at Indiana, there was really no standout player because they all performed so well. Even when you look at the elimination and death ratio, you know, you could see that, you know, everybody was getting a piece. Everybody was participating. So again, you had players that literally took turns popping off. Like one round to be Smooth, another round to be Simba. You know, everybody did their job. They didn't they didn't participate individually. They came in and played as a team, and that literally is what led them to victory. So that's why it is so hard to pick one player from Indiana that stood out among the rest, because they just all did so well. But with that being said, again, this has just been week number 7, and it has been a huge pleasure just to share the booth with you. And I would like to thank everybody at home just for tuning in, and don't forget to tune in to next week as well. It's going to be week 8 out of 15 for the big esports conference season. But this one will be the last before winter break. We're going to be kicking things off on Monday with Overwatch, with a number 9 seeded Indiana Hoosiers with number 8 Wisconsin Badgers in the Big Esports Conference. And also don't forget Big Esports Conference on YouTube and at Big Esports Conference.
Yeah, check it out. Make sure to stay tuned and tune in. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Have a good night.
It's all about house music. It's all about love. It's all about house music. It's all about love. It's all about house music. It's all about love.